Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another little video, and this one relates to the fantastic podcast I did with Martin Popoff the other day, looking at our current top 10 Deep Purple albums. And there's been loads of comments, and thank you to everyone who's been sharing your top 10 Deep Purple albums. And I understand that a lot of you, just like me and Martin, have said, well, this is where I am at the moment. If you ask me this question in a week's time, you know, some of the positions or some of the albums mentioned might be different. But one of the albums that I saw quite a lot in the comments was The Battle Rages On. And as I said during the podcast, if you took track one, side one of every single Deep Purple album, it would make the ultimate Deep Purple compilation. And Battle Rages On is a good example of that. It's an absolutely stonking, busting opening rock track. I know it borrows that riff from Fire Dance from Bent Out of Shape by Rainbow in places, just slowed down. But what a riff and what a track it is. And the album, of course, was a lot heavier than Slaves and Masters. You could tell behind the scenes it maybe not been a very happy release as such. But that track in particular, I know Enya's great as well, but that track in particular for me is fantastic. And the reason is at the end of Battle Rages On, when it goes into that dun-dun-dun-dun-dun riff, and John Lord does that descending keyboard sequence chords behind it, it's really moving, and he could have easily just put another solo in or ended it, but it just feels to me that that end section could have gone on for a lot longer. And in fact, I wonder whether Ritchie Blackmore also thought the same thing, because 2 years later, when he did Stranger in Us All, the Rainbow album, which again I don't think his heart was totally in it, but Cold Hearted Woman, which is I think the second track on that album, does the same thing at the end, where it pulls back to the simple riff, whatever it is, and again the keyboard that's a descending sequence at the end. Now you listen to the end of Battle Rages On and Cold Hearted Woman from Rainbow from Stranger in Us All, and they both end in a similar way with this really moving riff. You know, absolutely fantastic stuff. And when I say that Blackmore's heart may not have been in Stranger in Us All, I'm not being unkind. I think where he was heading in his heart when he was meeting Candice, he was also on that album, taking part actually probably the last Rainbow classic track, Aerial, which is superb. I mean, Blackmore's Night could have done, you know, do a version of that, but I think where he was heading, where he wanted to go with his guitar playing, more classical, acoustic, Renaissance style guitar playing, you know, I understand that, and I think you could see he was letting go of that. Even the way that Stranger in Us All was promoted, I didn't know anything about it. This is before the internet in 1995. I think it was a third page of an advert in Mojo magazine. There was no fanfare behind it, you know. But he was changing a lot then. I think on the tour, they did Temple of the King from the first Rainbow album, and his guitar solo and guitar playing was more about feel, moving, you know, moving the audience. It was less flash. He himself wasn't moving around the stage like he used to. He was accepting where he was in his life. And it's, you know, some great moments, but, you know, where he was heading, I think you have to admit that where he's been for the last 20, 30 years from that period with Blackmore's Night, he's happy. You can tell he smiles, the music is joyous. But anyway, I've gone off topic, haven't I? But doing that video has made me play Battle Rages On with fresh ears and eyes. And as I've said, there are no bad Deep Purple albums. There are just some that I like more than others on a different part of the day, really. But yeah, that track, the opening track, and the way that riff at the end descends, and Cold Hearted Woman from Stranger in Us All, listen to them. They were related, they joined at the hip. But absolutely fantastic stuff. So, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for being here. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I shall see you on my next video.